It's 8 o'clock. Oh my gosh. It's time to stream. Twitch, what are you doing to me? Hello? There we go. Yeah, I'm there. Alright. Yeah, Gemstone Caverns is new. Gonna try it out. I'll talk about the reasoning behind it once more people are around. How's it going, Darth Dog? Oh man, this league is almost over. Whoa. Give it a few more minutes, and then we'll hop into the league and let people show up as they show up. Oh, let's get out of there. Alright, let's get into it. Let's see, looks like, let me double check the Steam. Stream Decker is updated, exclamation point deck is updated as well. So, if anybody wants to take a look at the list, should be available. Alright, Trilith, what would you suggest? Alright, Alright, my imagination cap is on. Cut a wisp and add a yarn. You know, I think we did this before and we actually trophied with it. Maybe we should just keep doing that. I shouldn't even joke about doing that. Whoa. We're on the play, so the Gemstone Caverns doesn't do anything here, but I mean, Stoneforge on the play is pretty good. And Skyclave and Recruiter are good follow-ups, so I think this is fine. Yeah, I'll explain the reasoning behind Gemstone Caverns once more people are around, but obviously when you read the card, it basically lets you steal the play. If you have it in your opening hand, you can exile a card to it, and you start the game with this land in play, and it can make any color of mana. So the idea is that you can like discard a card from your hand to basically steal the play, more or less. Yeah. 8 cast, huh? Is that what this is? Are we gonna wish that we played this Caracas out? We'll see. Could also be Blue Painter. We'll see. Yeah, and it's worth noting I am basically just playing 2 Gemstone Caverns over the 2 Field of Ruins I've been playing for basically forever. The only other change is I cut 1 Rest in Peace for 1 Emrakul, because Emrakul seems clearly very good against Painter. I haven't played against it enough in leagues for me to necessarily feel like it's worth it, but like I'm also never gonna know how good Emrakul is against Painter unless I put it in my sideboard and play against it eventually. So, all right. It's a Thoughtcast. This mana right now makes sense for Thoughtcast. Sphere of Resistance. Interesting. That's an interesting card to play in a... Okay, there's the Emery. Interesting card to play in a deck with a bunch of 0-drops. They milled 2 Chalices and 2 Soul Lands. Sure. Okay, well, that's fine. Now we can just bounce it because we can't play a card here anyway. So, goodbye. That's a very, very interesting choice for a deck like 8 cast. Yeah, it still could be either or both. I don't know if the blue Painter lists play Chalice. Maybe they do. I only played against it once, so I just honestly don't remember. No, I had Gemstone in my opener, but we were on the play. But the hand was, these 5 cards plus these 2, so it was fine. Yeah, so if we had played Caracas here, we could have Mother of Runes in play technically, but this is not a matchup where Mom is going to matter much, so whatever. They mill 2... Okay. So they've milled 6 lands. They milled 2 Sagas, which is huge, and a Wasteland, and a Snow-Covered Island. The Wasteland's the only thing here that... I guess the City of Traders also isn't very... City of Traders is not very 8-casty. They usually just play Ancient Tombs. So now we can bounce Emery, and we reveal the secret that we have Gemstone Caverns in our deck, but that's okay. And we'll play Mom. Well, if this is Painter, then immediately rewarded for putting Emrakul in the sideboard for sure. I think I haven't played with Emrakul. I don't want to call anything. I forgot to turn my light on and just flicked my mic back. Ouch. There we go. Cool. The plan B of like beating you down with Saga tokens from Blue Painter feels like unbelievably easy to beat if they can't kill you with um uh if they can't kill you with Painter Grindstone. Um okay. Psy seems much more like just plain old 8 cast. Another Caracas, you say. Um, so we kind of want to do a million things with our mana here, which makes this turn a little bit awkward. Um, I don't want to let Emery live because of this Thought Monitor. Um, I don't want this Urza Saga to live because of everything Urza Saga does. But I also want to play my cards out. So everything is looking a little awkward here. I would really like to just like bounce Emery and then play Skyclave, but the Sphere of Resistance makes it annoying. Sphere is probably not that, or I should say Psy is probably not that much of a concern because the Sphere is in play. So I think I'm interested. I think I'm just gonna bounce Emery Waste Saga. Yeah. The only other play I think here is we could give them one turn with Saga and cast Stoneforge, but I think that's worse than just wasting them because we can Stoneforge next turn and that'll basically make Psy irrelevant. And there's only one Saga left in their deck. We can definitely beat one Saga. I really hope they don't have Crucible of Worlds, as Goblin Lackey mentions. That would be a bummer. Nope, they just flip. Okay, they are playing a full 4 Wastelands. Or no, sorry, we've only seen 3. That's a lie. 3 Wastelands. This is weird. I'm glad that they keep playing Emery, though, because it is just giving us much more info on their deck than we'd have otherwise. Alright, I was hoping to draw a non-Caracas land here, but that's okay. So we can bounce Emery, Lotus Petal to Caracas, be a little bit sad about it, but then we can Stoneforge for probably it's gonna get Cauldron here. I know it's the cool play, but it doesn't really get us anywhere. Your Lotus Petal did cost 1 mana. If I had a Thalia in play, this would just be like so bad for them. Is this an Odo? Oh, it's a Thought Monitor. Okay, sure. A little annoying, but still not a collection of cards that Cauldron can't beat. Swords is a nice one as well. So I think here I'm just want to bounce Psy, put Cauldron into play. And I think I might Lotus Petal Caracas again. because that'll let me. Maybe not. Maybe I don't want to do that because then I can't cast either of my 3 drops next turn, unless I draw another land. And I think that's worse than what would happen if we don't hold up Solitude next turn. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to put in Cauldra here. Or definitely putting in Cauldra. I am just going to bounce Sai. Let's see. I want to double check. They have City of Traders, Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, Ancient Tomb. Okay, we've seen 2 of each. And we've seen 3 Wastelands, and obviously they're a full 4 Saga deck. No question about that. Another Thought Monitor is kind of a bummer. And there's an Ancient Tomb. Oh, they probably aren't playing Force of Will. That's a good point. They have just way too many artifacts. Is this a Chalice for 1? That they have to pay 3 mana on? Okay. Hey, Sleepy, what's up? That's a funny one. It's actually really good. So, yeah, there's 0. I think with the Thorn of Amethyst, there's a 0% chance they're a Force of Will deck. So they still have an Emry in their hand. They still have Emry and Sai and then 3 other cards. I'm just going to pass the turn and not think about this too hard. If they would like to pay 2 mana to cast a Mishra's Bauble, then they are more than welcome. I mean, apparently we're in Vintage. Are they about to play Sai for 4 mana? No, oh, Metal Worker. Okay. And now they're just going to keep showing us more of their deck. We see Seed of the Synod, 2 more Thorns, and another Snow-Covered Island. That's still just 2 islands, I think. So, okay. All right, I will take 5 here. Um, um, I'm gonna put in Jite, and then it's probably just put in Jite, and we're either bouncing Emery or casting the Solitude. But we're definitely putting in Jite. Oh, they just scoop. All right, cool. I don't have to think about it anymore. Well, that was stupid. Okay. I'm just gonna board like it's 8 cast basically, and just board in these cards. Let's see. Don't want Torch. Don't want Moms. And I don't really want Containment Priests. I think that's that. I will not bring in the Mindbreak Trap. Mindbreak Trap can hit Sphere. That is technically correct. There we go. Hi, Gemstone Caverns. No, I don't like Rest in Peace over Surgical because I want to use Surgical to actively remove Urza Sagas from their deck. Emery is not actually that much of a concern. And it's really the only other card you need Graveyard Hit for. I like to play Cage specifically because it just like a lot of games like that was actually a perfect game where like our Caracas is basically always locked into bouncing Emery every turn, and sometimes you just need the mana. So I like playing Cage as a way to get around that. I would love to steal the play with this hand for the meme, but it does nothing, so we're gonna mulligan. If Timeless Dragon were a Plains. If Timeless Dragon were a Plains. I'm thinking about this hand for like 1 second because like if we draw a land in the top 2, it's fine. But I think the fact that they, especially because they are a Sphere of Resistance deck, I don't think we can afford to risk that. This is fine. I mean, it's not. It's okay. Bottom of Plains and a Solitude. Yep. Okay. I will happily pay 2 mana for my Aether Vial. Are they trying? Sphere affects your Emrys too, dude. Shadow Spear, sure. Okay. There you go. I'm proud of you. Alright, what do they flip this time? Literally nothing. Okay, cool. If they, yeah, I'll let them reuse Lotus Petal here. I'd rather just get my Vial into play. Yeah, their deck is kind of a dumpster. I'm not sure what's going on here. We saw Sphere of Resistance and Thorn of Amethyst in game 1. It looks like 8 cast, but they basically cut forces for Sphere effects, which seems pretty bad in their deck that has a bunch of zeros in it, but what do I know? Never played Legacy, but you are an avid limited modern and not getting into Pauper. Looking at Legacy, is it who can bullshit harder? No, not really. I think that's like a very, it's an understandable view of that. Like I think a lot of people go towards, but I think it's kind of a minimalist, or it's kind of like a reductive take on what Legacy is about. The power level is obviously high. Sometimes you will just lose to a deck that's doing way more powerful stuff than you, and you don't have the answer. But there are a lot of really interesting fair games that play out between decks. And even between like a fair deck and an unfair deck, the points of interaction that you have often are very interesting and lead to really cool games. You do absolutely, to Goblin Lucky's point, you do absolutely need to have like a high enough threshold for bullshit to sometimes happen to you. But it is absolutely not the only thing that the format is about. Hopefully that adequately answered your question. Well, I don't really want to use this Solitude, but I think I have to. Now that they have a bauble to cycle with it. At least these wisps aren't really doing anything yet. Oh no, not Haywire Might. Are you gonna kill my Vial? Looks like a no for the time being. Alright, I'm drawing a lot of planes here. Not really what I want to draw in my mole to 5, but looks like they are choosing not to kill Vial for now. I was going to use Might as an attacker with Shadow Spear, maybe. Ah, gross. They reveal Yorion. Perfect. They already knew about that one. This would be a good turn to draw a Spear to the Labyrinth? Or Recruiter of the Guard? No, Surgical. Okay. Don't really have much to do here. I'm just going to pass. Opponent's really killing themselves with their own Ancient Tomb right now. Spell Bomb, sure. Yeah, it's this is reminiscent of a deck that you could look up called 8-Cast. Did we hit Urza Socket? No, we just hit all bunch of baubles. There's a legacy deck called 8-Cast, very common deck right now. This is sort of 8-Cast, but is clearly not quite 8-Cast. They are playing some cards that are worse. We can just call them worse. Yeah, I'm just gonna take this. I feel like I want to do something with this Wisp when they're only at 9. But I don't really know what. think I'm just going to take a draw step. Well, I hate the sphere of resistance. It's at least good for the upcoming turn. It was a very annoying turn to take Vial up to 4. So I think I am just passing the turn here, and I'm gonna hope to surgical whatever they try to hit with Emery, and hopefully it'll be Mishra's Bauble. But if we happen to draw land, then our next turn is looking pretty good. Let's just bring this out here. Cody with a K, thanks so much for the follow. Welcome. All right. I'll take the 3. I'm guessing they're going to Emery a Bauble here. They are miting my Aether Vial. That's a bummer. Are they just going to Emery the Mite here then? That's fine. That my hand doesn't care about that at all. So. Oh yeah, this game is very winnable. They aren't applying that much pressure. Everything they have going on over there isn't that impactful. We are fundamentally a control deck. We win the long game. If we draw a land here, all right, Thought Monitor is annoying. But if we draw a land here and then we just Solitude Emery, cast Yorion, flicker Solitude, hit a Thought Monitor, we're looking in quite good shape. We just need to now draw a land so they kill their Vial. That is not quite a land. But we do get to recruit for... let me actually think about this. We might just have to solve. Well, I guess we can recruit for something that we actually don't want to draw. Or I guess what we can do is recruit Lauren. We can pitch Wisp to Solitude and get rid of the Emery. We could also just let Emery live one turn, since we can surgical a Bauble that they hit anyway. So, yeah. We don't know if they play Kappa, but we saw so many cards in their deck in Game 1 because they played an Emery like 5 times, and we did not see one. Yeah, I forgot that Spell Bomb is even in play. So yeah, something's getting disrupted, and I certainly don't want it to be them just bouncing Emery. Urza's Bauble. Okay. All right, their hand is Doo-Doo. That was also the only Urza's Bauble in their deck. That the Metalworker is a 1 of. Oh my god. All right, so It's really just the Urza sagas that we have to be wary of, and we have the Lauren, and they don't have any actual answers. Um, yeah, they just don't have a. They are very much relying on these Urza sagas to win them the game. So we're just gonna Lauren everyone they play, and we should be fine. We just have to not die to the thought monitors that are already here. But casting Solitude on this, hopefully casting Solitude on this next turn is going to help with that a lot. So, yeah, okay, sure. Oh yeah, the one Psy, yeah. There's Wastelands. Did your P key die? Is this going to be a Chalice on one? No, it's another Sphere. Okay, another Sphere is kind of annoying, honestly. And is this a Chalice on one? No, it's another Sphere. Okay. So everything costs 3 more mana. Um, tempted to potentially block the Haywire Might. It buys us at least 1 turn. It's probably not worth it, though. We might have. Well, do we have to? Yeah, I guess we should. We should just guarantee that we get the extra draw step. So now we just hope to draw a land. I just want to draw a land like every turn for the rest of the game, annoyingly. Stoneforge is bad into this Haywire Might, unfortunately. So yeah, we're definitely casting this Solitude. I think... Yeah, I think we have to pitch Yorion because we're just nowhere close to casting it. Sadly. Land? Nope, not a land. We can Flicker Wisp, but they have the Spell Bomb, so we're dead. Alright, game 3. What an annoying game to draw, like no lands. I don't think anything changes here. Oh yeah, we can't Wisp, right, because it costs 6, not 5, yeah. I would like to play first. Thank you very much. Well, this hand's absolutely horrible. This hand looks a lot better. It's maybe not horrible. I think it's a lot worse than a 6 usually, though. All right, they flip a Mopal off of Emery, which I think I'm happy to just let them have. Or they're going to bobble us, so I'll just hit the bobble, actually. I'm going to Stoneforge. I could Stoneforge for Sash here, potentially, to keep the Emery in check. Doesn't really win the game very fast, though. I think I'm more into just cauldroning them. I don't like GTA because it's just too slow here. I think I just want to kill them with Cauldron, yeah. Yeah, that's part of why I was kind of into Sash, is it does... I'm fine to let them have Mox Opal here. Might get punished, but I think I'm fine with it. That's not... I mean, they could have played that anyway, so that's not a punish, it's just annoying. Sure. Well, I guess I am just attacking. Do we put Yorion into our hand, or do we hold up the Surgical? Is the only question. Surgical is just going to hit a bobble here. I think I'm fine with that, given the way their hand looks. Although I guess the other way to look at it is we just can potentially Solitude the Emery next turn and then keep the Surgical for the Saga. That actually might matter more. Also, it's an very awkward amount of mana to just pass with. Yeah, never mind. We'll let them bobble us one extra time. What was the island from their hands? Okay. What do we get here? Another Stone Forge. Well, now we can get Sash. Oh, I'm just super dumb. Forgot that they were putting a Saga token into play. So yeah, the Stoneforge is just dying for no good reason. Alright, another Saga. Those constructs are big. I think here we're going to have to wasteland. Okay. Are they probably putting Shadow Spear on this, on the big construct? I think I just have to Solitude that, pitching the Yorion. And then, yeah, if we draw a Wisp, it's great. They're tapped out, so the Emery doesn't do anything now, thankfully. Alright, what do we draw? Wisp, Wisp. Another Surgical. It's not quite what I wanted. Now that I have the Sash, it just doesn't really matter that much. Let's see. I do get the Surgical Saga. I'm going to make a draw step stop for that. So I guess we just play Iganjo, cast Sash for 3 mana. 1 mana is going to go into the Surgical, another is going to probably tag whatever Emery tries to get back. Yeah, that seems fine. The Iganjo isn't going to do much, so... Alright, now a draw step, Surgical, the Saga. Oops, there we go. Their hand is Borrower, Metalworker, Thorn of Amethyst, Chalice, City of Traders. Interesting. Oh, free to leave the Saga in the graveyard. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I should have kept it in there. But yeah, I guess the Borrower does make it irrelevant. But I should have done that. Sure. They see another Surgical. It's pretty big, though, because they could have... Yeah, they did that wrong. They should have borrowed... They should have petty thefted Sash before they cracked the bauble there. But they didn't, so we get to eat the bauble. They played... What did they play? Play the City Traders. There we go. There's a Metalworker that can currently make 4 mana that will go into nothing. Yeah, I have to take that. That's not a Flicker Wisp. We just have to pass here. I could... If I move Sash over to Stoneforge, it doesn't really change anything. I am if they attack with everything. So yeah, I guess we just hold back. Yeah, I mean, we basically did draw 0 spells. I mean, we drew Stoneforge, 2 surgicals. Or I guess one of the surgicals was in our opener. Um, yeah, it was not a great, um, showing for the deck. That's for sure. What are you spending all this mana on? Okay. Interesting. So I guess I'm gonna take 9 here. um, I guess I could take 7. Taking 7 actually is probably relevant. Um, or actually, 2, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Um, we can actually double block and kill the constructs, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and one of these stays alive, which is probably the Stoneforge. Um, yeah, I think we should do that. Now we gotta play this fast, because we're running out of time. Let's go. I like miscounted. I thought we could only get up to 7, but we can actually get up to 8 on the sash. Alright, now we can have 6. Which do you want to kill? They killed the Stoneforge. Okay. Okay, I guess we start swinging here, right? They're gonna bounce it anyway, so so we now know about a seat of the Synod in their deck as well. Or in their hand. Now it's in play. Yep, there's Petty Theft. You can cast Brazen Borrower. Okay. So they have Thorn and something else in their hands. Something good. That qualifies, I think. We just had... Did we just get Lauren here? We can't cast it this turn, but I think... Or no, maybe we have to get Skyclave for the Brazen Borrower? Or do we just get Solitude? Can't get Solitude. Too bad we can't cast anything this turn. Yeah, Wisp. Alright. Alright. They still have the thorn in their hands. Crazy. There it is. And... okay. Yeah, I think this is probably over. I wasted too much time on that tutor, but I'm not sure if we even could have gotten there, even if I didn't. So we'll see. Is this gonna be Odawara on the Fickle list? Okay, cool. We're dead anyway. Whew. That match took a lot of brain power because they just played so many sphere effects. Very weird collection of cards. I'm not so sure that Mind Break Trap was the way there. I'm sorry to say, I don't think I believe it. Yeah, that did kind of suck. I feel like that matchup should probably be relatively easy. We just like... we mulled to 5 in game 2. Just didn't draw a lot of spells in game 3. It happens, it just sucks. Magic Dads, I'm one of those. Let's go, Yorion. Do we steal the play in the blind? And if so, what do we exile here? I really don't. I'm going to keep. Opponent's mulling to 6 right now. Mulling to 5. Yeah, I'm leaning between Skyclave and Plains here. Yeah, I'm going to pitch Plains. That sure looks like a Reanimator land. Yeah, so the idea with Gemstone Caverns is, you know, you get to steal the play like this, which can be pretty big against some decks. And I kind of wanted to try it out because, you know, I think basically the main weakness that D&T has is just that sometimes you get turn 1, and it's nice to be up on mana when that happens. The only concern I have sometimes is that just because you steal the play doesn't mean you always have anything relevant to do with that mana, which is kind of what we're going to see here, I think, is it's going to be nice that we have swords for this Grizzlebrands before it even attacks. The main concern, I think, is that even on this turn 2, we're just going to play a Sash and then not really have anything to do after that. But we'll see. Oh, second Gemstone. That would have been so good. Trying in lands to crop turn 1 against Reanimator, that's actually pretty cool, yeah. Alright, grief me, sure. Oh, it is a legendary land. I didn't even realize that. Alright, well, goodbye to the Grizzlebrands. They're going to take our sash. Yeah, so like I said, I think the main problem that Gemstone's Caverns has, I think, long term, is that a lot of the decks where you really want an effect like Gemstone Caverns, they don't really give you your second turn or your first turn in the first place. Which is kind of what's happening here, right? Like we did get to swords, Grizzlebrands, but if it was like Storm, then this 1 mana would just be sitting around doing nothing. If they don't kill us on turn 1, and we get to like play like a Spirit of the Labyrinth or a Thalia on turn 1, on our turn 1, then like maybe that can be cool, but that's not always going to be that effective. The only reason I'm kind of interested in it is because it's a source of fast mana in D&T, something that we're kind of desperate for, that doesn't require us to like completely rebuild our deck. Because that's kind of an annoying thing about Chrome Mox, is that like you do kind of have to construct and play your deck pretty differently. Top decking it sucks, whereas this is like at least a colorless mana. It's not great, but it is a colorless mana. I unironically thought about playing Silence, yes, for that reason. They have their own Emrakul. Oh, that makes sense. They're a shallow grave deck. That makes sense. Yeah, as you can see, we're barely gonna get our first turn. Oh, we do get to get. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just gonna die. That was a very good first 14 cards off of them, and also a very good second 14 cards off of them. So that happens. Yeah, if only I had Gutshot. Yeah, sure, unmask me. Oh, someone asked before. I am playing 2 leagues tonight. I only played 1 league last week because I had to be up early for work, but I don't have to do that tonight. So I should play Gutshot. I could even pay red mana off the Gemstone Caverns. Let's go. All right. Archon, Grizzlebrand, Atraxa. There's a Shieldred in their deck. Curious. All right, their turn 1 only took about 6.5 minutes. I'm mostly just not scooping so they show me more of their deck, and now I don't need to think about it anymore. So now we get to board in only 13 cards instead of the usual 14, but you know, That's how it goes sometimes. Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, Wisp. Goodbye, Torch. Goodbye, Jite. Goodbye, Batterskull. Goodbye to Iganjo. I guess actually we want to cut Gemstone Caverns here because we don't need it on the play, and then we'll cut Timeless Dragon because it's slow. And that should be good. I think normally I would cut one of the Skyclaves next, but we can't, so. Yeah, I'll keep this. It's definitely be double surgical. Followed up by Mom with swords as a backup. I don't like Wisp because it doesn't deal with Animate Dead. It also doesn't deal with Serenity if it's in their deck. Wisp mostly just doesn't do anything, really. Yeah, Serenity is the more important one than Animate Dead, but it is true for both. Or it is relevant for both. I'd rather keep swords up than cast Vial. I don't think it's going to matter with 2 surgicals in hand, but I'm going to be casting Thalia on turn 2 regardless, so the value of having Vial in play is pretty low. Yes, hello. Here is my hand. Okay, I think that's fair. Now Thalia doesn't have to shut off surgicals for a turn. It's even better. Okay. Taking the Recruiter too. Yeah, it is kind of screaming a show and tell or something like that. But they don't have another land, so that's good for us. Yeah, that makes sense. Two swamps. That's interesting. I know they're not mono black because we saw Bayou in the first game. For real? I think I actually have to surgical because it gets grief. Yeah. That's a way to play through it. Yeah. Opponents are really making me fight for it today. I get rid of the one recruiter. We will keep the others in our deck. Please give me a relevant draw here. I would really appreciate it. I'll take it. If you start playing D&T, you stop 1-4ing leagues. I did get a 1-4 last week, so I don't know. Overall, I've been doing pretty well with the deck, though. Magic Online, hello? Oh, my opponent's. Sure. My opponent loves holding priority, apparently. There we go. I'm not going to put Yorion in my hands. I'm just going to keep my spells up. They really are. It's Snoozeville. That one I'm gonna allow. You can have my Thalia in play. Let's just draw Caracas. It's not quite that, but I'll take it. Your Lotus Petal. Another match where Lotus Petal costs 2 mana. Alright, let's eat their Marsh Flats. Untap. Oh my god, please pass priority. I'm begging you. There we go. Port's nice when there's 2 Thalias in play. I guess there might be about to be 1 Thalia in play. But either way. oldest gets destroyed by the most recent. That's not. Was that ever a version of the legendary rule? No, the original was once you played one, nobody could play that legend. Like, it was just a dead card in your hand, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. No, that wasn't the original Legend rule. The Legend rule, as it was printed in Legends, was that when you had one in play, you could not cast that card. Nobody else could cast that card. The second iteration was that one, where if you played one, it destroyed both of them. I interpreted yours as meaning if I played my copy of a legendary card, I kept mine, but it destroyed my opponent's, which sounds fucking busted, but that's what I interpreted it as. Anyway. We're gonna attack. I'm gonna eat my Thalia here. Put them to 3. Yeah, 3. There we go. Opponent has finally conceded. I probably should have just fired off that surgical at some point to look at what was in their deck. Maybe like a couple turns before that, when maybe they had a chance to draw out of it. I'm going to do my best. It's mostly on my opponent. But I'll win as fast as I can. Oh, I should have brought in a Gemstone Caverns, but it's not a big deal. This hand is too slow. Most of the interaction we have in our deck right now is 0 mana anyway, so Gemstone Caverns really only matters if we have a 2-drop that we want to play off of it. Yeah, mulligan this. This has a ley line and a lion sash, so I'm pretty into this. Keep this bottom of recruiter. Yeah. Hopefully they don't just have like triple Thoughtseize again. I guess it was double because plus the animate dead was what it was last time, but we'll see. They pitch Grizzlebrand to unmask. Pretty happy with that. They probably just have to take the Lion Sash here. Or I guess maybe they take the recruiter actually. Good night, Likey. Yeah, they take the recruiter. It depends what they're... Oh, sure, this is what they're doing. They're just doing this business again. Yeah, the reason I was forgot that it could be Serenity, which is why it would make complete sense to leave Sash in my hand. This can't take that long. Grief is the only card you get. There we go. Yeah, now that they have reanimated the recruiter, it makes sense. I just didn't know that at the time yet. What in there? Oh, their hand just unmasked into a reanimate on either Grizzlebrand or Archon. Yeah, that makes sense. There goes the swords. Okay. Sadly, no Wisp in my deck, so I can't just take my recruiter back, but I can live with that. All right. Yeah, my boarding is cut moms, cut wisps, torch, Jite, Batterskull, dragon, and one land. Oh, okay. Well, that's every card in their hand, so we just need to draw like literally any castable spell, and this game is probably unlosable. We did it. I could definitely see keeping in one Wisp, just to recruit for it. I've just found a lot of times that with how much reanimator decks have tended towards cards like Serenity or what is it? Urza's Silex? Is that the card that like pay X, sacrifice it, kill everything with CMC X or less or whatever? With how many answers to hate that are also permanents I've seen, I've liked just having as many Wisps or as many Skyclaves in my deck that I can top deck. Karn Silex, yeah, there we go. Urza Silex is probably an older card, isn't it? I hope they don't think this works. I'm not going to take that trade. We got plenty of time. Yes, that Karn Silex is the one that I was thinking of. There's some other Silexes. I don't know what they do. They probably do something dumb and artifacty. Deal. Sure. I've only seen it specifically out of mono black lists, which are mostly just worse than playing lists with colors in them, but you know. Yeah. I'll attack this time. Wait, I've read Golgothian Silex before. That's repeatable? I thought that was, like... Actually, I should make sure. Um... The... As MTG Bot is showing me, you don't, but... Oh, right. It is from Antiquities itself, right? That's the thing. Yeah. The. I forgot that it itself was from Antiquities. Yeah, sure, whatever. I'm not going to just trade these off. I'll wait to potentially draw something. Yeah, my opponent is not playing very quickly, to say the least. I did not know it was possible for a Reanimator player to take this much time away from my life. And yet they have done so very successfully. Alright, that's something. Is this going to be Dark Ritual into Grief? So we have to keep doing this? Yeah. Okay. We can keep doing this. Sure. I'm gonna wait till next turn to put Yorion in my hands, because I don't want them to Thoughtseize me again. I'm laughing at the idea that they needed to errata the set hosers. fundamentally very funny. I will flicker nothing. Please give me my life back. I'm begging you. I'm gonna scream if they time out before I get to deal lethal damage. It's just not fair. What is the download for this? I have no idea. What's the one? I can find you a link in a second. There we go. I'm free. I'm finally free. I didn't flicker anything because I lost my patience, and there was no reason. We didn't have any equipment left to get, so. And to think that I was excited that after timing out in the first game, essentially, or the first match, that we were going to have a very quick second one. What an idiot I was. I did win the Dead War. I forgot about that. Alright, we're on the draw. We're on the draw. You know what that means. Huh! Nope, okay. Good hand, though. Opponent is mulling to 6. Horizon Canopy. Exploration. Lands. Okay. And then they play Field of the Dead and pass. Okay, sure. Yeah, it was weird. It was it's 8 mulch. Gross. There's Ghost Quarter. Manmon's discarded also. And then Maze. But they have another Maze in their hands. Okay. Well, this is going to be an annoying one. First off, we'll play this Thalia. That's not really going to do a whole lot. Notably, 2 of the lands in their hands have the same name, so they're pretty far. Oh, they're going to do that. That's what they're going to do. So they turn their field into a forest, and are they crop rotating their maze into something? Almost F6 while they're doing it. Yep. Rotating maze into... It's probably Tabernacle, right? Oh, and a Caracas, sure. Rude. It's fucked up. I knew Thalia wasn't going to do very much. I didn't think it was going to do that little. But that's how it goes. So life from the loam? Yeah. So they loam back maze, fields, quarter. There is field and maze. You don't have to grind the cards. It is a game where you have to buy the cards though. So it kind of depends how much you're willing to put into it. I don't have a great way to beat 2 mazes. But I am going to start by getting a Stoneforge. They dredge into Boseiju. Wasteland is a bit of a bummer. So get back to Boseiju. Still have a land drop, so they have... So the hand is field, maze, ghost quarter, or field, maze, ghost quarter, and they played the ghost quarter. So now it's Boseiju. There we go. And Field of the Dead is online, and I'm very sad. Hello, Gemstone Caverns. I think we actually really needed this to be Field of Ruin, actually. If we could Field of Ruin... I guess with the loams they have, it wouldn't have really mattered, but it would technically be better. I think I actually just have to Skyclave the exploration here to slow them down at least a little bit. Yeah. It's not a great plan, but I don't think we have a great plan. I think we were just doing what we can. This is a bad matchup, so... Hall of Helios Generosity. Interesting. I guess that's a way to get mana bonds into play after you've dredged a bunch. So I assume this is going to be getting... Yeah, Waste, Misty, Hall. They can only play one of them, thankfully. And they will play Hall. That makes sense because now they can just get mana bond. And they play mana bonds, put all their hands into, put all their lands into play next turn, and then we're super dead. At least that's how it's looking so far. Yeah, let's just go to the next game. So I want Rest in Peace, and I want Surgicals, and I don't really want Council's Judgment, but I'm happy enough to play it. Jite's not good. Containment Priest isn't good. Swords isn't very good. They can merit lage us, but I think that's very, very secondary to everything else they do. I understand why Trailblazer's Torch is not often gonna be good here, but I think we have to have it. Like if they have a slow hand that's just hiding behind mazes that we can't get through, Torch is our only way to win in any kind of fashion. I think it's better than the cards that we're cutting, right? Like I don't want any of these. Dollador, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, if they've already gone off, sure, it's not good, but like I think you just need a tool that like gives us some equity in the long games where they don't go off right away. And I think Torch is really the only way to get that. If this hand had one land or had one more land, I would snap keep it. Unfortunately, it does not, so I can't. I don't really love this hand either, but maybe Vile is good enough. The Stomping Ground in the background is actually a real big card. It's a prize that they gave out at Grand Prix Magic Fests back. At least, I think they still do. This one was my wife got back in 2019. My opponent also mulled to 6. I think I'm just going to keep this and bottom a Wisp. It's not great, but it has some stuff going on for it at least, so. Alright. Of course, they have like 3 fetch lands in their deck, and of course they play one here. Another Vial. Well, in that case, I'm just going to cast Thalia. It's rotating for Caracas again. Come on. Give me a break. Probably just bounce Thalia into loan back every. Oh. Did they? I don't think they meant to do that. I think they wanted to bounce and then loam, but they messed up. Sure. Weird. Alright, that's pretty sick. So now I get to play this Vial and keep their forest tapped. When they Caracas, can I Caracas in response put Thalia back in play before they cast the sorcery? Yes, I can. I can do that. I think I would only do it if I had literally nothing else to do with that mana. But I might. We'll see. Vial's also only going to stay on 2 counters for a turn. So that's another reason it's not super likely to happen. So I'll attack for 2. I'm guessing they're going to bounce here. Maybe they don't want me to recast it though. I'm just going to port them off of green either way here. So, yep. That doesn't make any mana. Let's see. Yeah, Iganja's not going to do anything, so that's cool. Ooh. Hello. Katie's home.
Hey Twitch chat. Should I quit without notice?
We demand answers.
That is me. I am Hot Wife.
Got him.
What are we playing against?
We are playing against 8 Mulch, and we died really bad in the first game.
But it's looking better.
Their hand isn't functional since we've drawn 2 ports, but we don't actually have a way to win the game right now, which is kind of a bummer. Oh, I don't like that Blast Zone at all. Blast Zone is very bad vibes.
Hey.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Thanks for interacting with chat while I do this game that's going to cost like 1 million game actions.
Yeah. It would be easier. See, like, I could go upstairs and do it, but now I'm like, no, I'm just stuck here.
Right, yeah. Of course.
Now I have to stay on camera interacting with chat. It's literally required.
Why'd they have to play the second Mazaveth? I'm really tempted to cheat Solitude and play.
We're not swapping glasses.
Alright, let's see if we get 3 damage in.
Jax, why are you licking my foot? Let's not do that. Let's say hi to camera though.
Oh, doggy on camera.
Doggy on camera. Jax, can you interact with Twitch chat for us?
Probably not productively. Hey, how's it going?
He's helping.
What a good helper.
I was really wait. Like wait, crap. His collar like definitely like has the address. Like
Oh yeah. Oops.
Whoops. Whoops. Gotta make sure we turn that around next time. What are they doing with that Bayou?
Great question.
Yeah, still.
Did they finally get to cast a Life from the Loam, and then the House of Cards comes tumbling down? I guess we'll see, but I'm sure I'm going to F6 about it.
Love that for you.
Alright, I'm catching up on chat.
Later.
Later.
Catch you on the chat side. Jax, what are you doing? No, but like, what are you doing, Jax?
What is he doing?
I don't know.
Okay.
It looks like he's like stuck between a sneeze and a scratch.
Okay. I love that for him. Alright, what is this? Oh, it's a winding way. Okay. What do we got? Just a windswept teeth. I love that. This is probably going to be a loam, though. They're stuck on green spells of some kind, so. Oh, another. That's a mulch for stage and canopy. Okay. So the hand is Heath, stage, canopy, and who knows what the other two cards are. And there's the Heath. Drop of honey. Well, that's rude. On the bright side, this Yavimaya means that I can just use my ports on mazes all the time right now. So we'll attack him for 3. Destroy the creature with the least power, so they get to choose. I think what I want to do here is cast Spirit just to have another creature in play. They'll probably kill Wisp, but that's fine. We can still port a maze in their upkeep, and we'll Vial in a Solitude at the end step, and just keep putting that pressure on them. And I think it's critical that we make it so that we put them to 3 on their 3, that we can deal 6 damage to them next turn. So. Because Thalia only deals 2 damage. And also gets bounced by Karakas. So in no way will it deal 6 damage. Will it allow us to put them to 3 next turn. Oh, right, it's least, not most. Well, okay, sure. That blast zone resolves, right? Because that was on 1 counter. Yeah. Yeah, so the real reason not to cast Thalia is because of the Karakas, not because of the drop of honey. But now Drop of Honey is gone, and I'm feeling pretty good. They play stage, so they have Heath and Canopy. Or no, they played the Heath. So I only know about the Canopy. And they loam back Thicket, Blast Zone, and Boseiju. And they can't cast any of those, so that's cool. I am happy to cast Thalia into this board. And I'm still just going to tap both mazes. Now we can have 6. They dredge into Field of the Dead. So they can get 2 zombie tokens? Two, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they play. Or no, it's. No, they can't. So they get back Field and Misty. And they play field. So then Misty, and then there's one more card in their hands. And then they die. Cool. Alright, game 3. I'm not boarding in Yorion Trilith. Don't say it. Don't say it. I'm not boarding in Mindbreak Trap either. This hand is bad against Mana Bond, but it's good against most other things they do. So I think we probably just have to keep it. Like, I think Stoneforge and Rest in Peace are two of our best cards, so. I don't love that. Look, I already played 2 Yorions for Chylith. I can only go so far. Yeah, true. All our hands are bad against Mana Bond. Yeah, I don't board in Leylines because this is a matchup where our top decks do kind of matter. And it only does so much against them, so. Well. I played Tabernacle. They only played 1 extra land that turn, so their hand must be... I guess if their hand is a mulch effect, I'm surprised they didn't cast that over the second exploration. So I don't really know what's in their hands. But I think I'm just going to Stoneforge for Kaldra either way. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling too. Crop rotation sideboard cards make sense to me. And thankfully, if they have those, I don't think there's really anything we can do to play around them, so. I think we still just Stoneforge for Kaldra either way. Stage. They just loam back Heath. Okay, sure. I think it was just 2 loams. Okay. Well, that makes this sequencing a little awkward. Because I really want to put the Cauldron into play, but also if I just cast Rest in Peace this turn, that's kind of huge. Do I just not put Cauldron into play? It's not going to attack this turn because of the maze. I guess we can pay for Stoneforge and then put Cauldron into play next turn. Damn, they got me. Blast Zone is a really good one for them to draw, but thankfully we tagged the loams, so I think Rest in Peace has definitely done what it needs to at this point. So now we'll put Cauldron in, and we'll let Stoneforge die. Wasteland. Well, that's even better than Port. Well, I guess long term it's better than Port. Because what we can do is we can port Maze here so we can get an attack in. They can stage the Maze, but next turn we can waste the Maze and we can also wisp the stage. So I think we got the sequencing figured out. Never mind, they drew another Maze. Well, that's really annoying. They just always draw all the way. Oh, well, okay. There we go. So in that case, I think we still... I guess we want to play the... What's the best way to do this? So we're gonna wisp the Maze. No point in attacking. I guess maybe we don't. We can start by wasting one Maze. And then maybe we actually just recruit for something. Yeah, we waste one Maze now. There's no... We're not really getting any value out of the port, so we can just recruit for something here. And the next turn we can wisp the stage. Wisp the staged Maze, waste the real Maze, and then we're in good shape. Question is, what do we even get off of this? Lion Sash is probably good backup Graveyard Hate after they deal with the Rest in Peace. I think I'm into that. Alternatively, I could just get a Wisp to keep punching damage through. Might not really need to do that, though. We have a little bit of time to think about this, because I think the game is probably going to be over in the next couple of turns. I think Wisp is notably best if they draw another Maze, which is like the only thing that really seems like it's going to get them out of this. So I think I'm happy to just take another Wisp, and we'll pass. I'll waste their clock, I guess. Yeah, cool. So we can also pay for the recruiter next turn. Did they just hit? They sure did just hit 3 lands off of Winding Way. And now they get to play all 3 of them. Okay, now that they waste the Wisp there, we no longer can pay for the recruiter, so we're just going to let the recruiter go. Does this stage now being a field really change anything? Probably not. I guess it means we don't have to waste this. I think we kind of have to ignore the zombie tokens more or less anyway. So I think what I do here is I waste the maze, attack with Cauldra. I probably just flicker the Cauldra. I could flicker the stage, but it just doesn't really do anything. So, yeah. So I think we waste maze, attack with Cauldra, blink Cauldra to be a blocker after attacking. Which may or may not matter, but... Sure. Their tabernacle is bad enough for them. I don't think I'm super concerned about it. Either way, but so they did hit the third loam, which makes this blast zone kind of look even worse right now. Yeah, okay. I'll stop thinking about it too hard. So I think to answer your question fully, I don't think their tabernacle matters that much for them because they have a lot of lands in play and not a whole lot to do with them. So, although I guess they're choosing not to keep their zombies, so what do I know? Is this going to be Blast Zone cracking the rip? It is. Okay. I guess I could have just reset their Blast Zone back to 1 counter. Probably like pretty low cost to do that. So don't pay for the germ. I will pay for the wisp. Are they going to rotate for a stage or for a maze? Glacial Chasm. Okay. Oh, they stacked this wrong, didn't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because now they don't get Field of Dead triggers? Yeah. Cool. But that's... I'm confused. Okay. um, so, what do we do from here? I could just wisp their Glacial Chasm to make them sack another land. That might be worse than just wisping Glacial Chasm for lethal, but yeah, maybe we do that next turn. So in this turn, we could put Yorion into our hand, or we could like lure in an exploration, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I'll lure in an exploration. This is League 1. This one's taken a nightmarishly long time. Oh, now they draw the loam. Stay. Yeah, that's a big bummer. What a top deck. At least they only get to play 2 of their 3 lands. What do they play? They got back Forest, Boseiju, Canopy, and they played Forest and Canopy. And now they have Canopy and Maze in their hands. So I think I'm going to let Lauren die. Keep Cauldron around. Pay 1 for Wisp. And then we look here. So we could chasm them. Or we could just keep making them pay life into it for a minute. And we could instead just Skyclave the exploration. Yeah, just see how much life they'll pay. I agree. Sure looks like they are paying. They are not paying life. Oh, because they can loam for it. That's why. And they mill Maze stage and exploration. I know they have one. No, they messed up again. They keep forgetting they have 2 cards named Field of the Dead. So they stack their triggers wrong again. So we just pay for both of our creatures and they're dead. Oh, they can stage the chasm, can't they? Well, shoot. I guess I make them do it. I'm not sure. They just chose not to. All right, cool. We beat 8 mulch somehow. Yeah, they that was definitely some pilot error on their part. Yeah, I think we probably still force them to stage the chasm, because it'll still take a land away. They'll still be kind of be in the same problem. They're gonna effectively gonna have to sack 2 lands because they're gonna have to get rid of one of them. They're not gonna pay the cumulative upkeep on both of them, and they still don't have. Then since we got rid of the explorations, even when they cast the loam, they're not gonna get any zombies. Yeah, basically, yeah, exactly. They can't do it forever. I would like to play first. Timeless Dragon, worse than a Plains. What do you know? Oh, jeez. Oh. Okay. Alright. This hand works. What do we get rid of here? I'm going to put back the Iganjo, and then I think it's either the Containment Priest or the Lauren. It's just whichever we want to hedge for. I think Lauren is more likely to be good. So we'll do that. I think that's just mostly a math problem, but not one that I'm super interested in thinking about super hard. Yeah, I guess maybe that's the other way to look at it, is that Priest is likely to completely steal a win, and Lauren's just going to kind of be a good card. Once Upon a Time has found Nimble Mongoose. Cauldra, really? Are you kidding me? Alright. Yeah, sure. It's almost certainly Rug Delver. I just don't know why they're playing the Once Upon a Times. Well, Lauren is definitely not going to have any cards it answers, so I might as well just put it into play as a blocker. Yes, I know that Priest would be better here, Sleepy. I get it. Yep, that's fine. Alright, I can live with just a Nimble Mongoose doing nothing for forever, so... Yeah, deal. This will be a matchup where we miss the second rest in peace that used to be in our sideboard, but it's okay. That's how it goes. I'm kind of tempted to just cast this Yorion as a blocker to potentially bait out permission. Notably, they aren't going to really have any removal that can deal with it. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. Like, if we get dazed, we get dazed, but also we might need to cast the Solitude before too much longer, at which point we're going to have to play into a daze unless we draw a land anyway. That was, yeah, see, that's a perfectly fine way for them to use Petty Theft. I'm really okay with that. Or this Wasteland comes down, and yeah, now we wouldn't have been able to cast either of them. Perfect. We're going to do it again. Never. Force pitches Stifle. Stifle has been seen. It's also a bin vacation Stifle, so they have no taste. So now we're at least safe against Daze. And I'm not going to give them... I guess I should have done this in their upkeep, I guess. But that's okay. I do not think I want to use this Wastelands. Yeah, I'm going to hold it. Especially with the Cauldron in hands. Deal. Snap block. I'll take it. And there's a Delver. Potential to be scary, but we'll see. We have a lot of good cards to draw. That's one of them. I'm just going to guarantee the trade here. What did they reveal? Nothing. Cool. If they're smart, they attack. They're not smart. What would they have drawn that isn't a spell that they also didn't cast? Is a question I'll think about for that 5 seconds. Jax. They just concede. Okay, cool. Alright, we bring in the Rip and 2 Council's Judgments. We'll get rid of a Torch, a Lauren, and Containment Priest. And it's that easy. I'm not hearing. Nope. Mm-mm. Nuh-uh. We're not doing any of that. Blocks Delver just as well from the companion zone. That was the word I was looking for. My opponent mentioned in chat that they apparently had just drew all lands. I don't know why they didn't start playing those lands, but that's their loss, I guess. Well, it would be a really funny one, except this hand is not good. So I'm just gonna go to 6. What is it like? That's 5 opener. This is the 4th one in a row that has Cauldron or Batterskull or both. I guess one way we could look at it is so let me think of it this way. So if we pitch Cauldron to the Gemstone, that's actually a pretty good Molda 6, I guess, is one way to look about it. I don't want to pitch the second Gemstone because they're going to wasteland us. And I think his Cauldron is much less likely to do anything than the Gemstone will. I'm going to keep. I'm going to put 1 Gemstone in play. I'm going to get rid of a Cauldron to it. I'm realistically using it in other matchups, is the answer to that question. I get that it's legendary. I just think that like us having another land in our hand after we wasteland them is much more likely to be relevant than having Cauldron accessible in this game ever. Like both of these cards are going to be dead for the first several turns. It doesn't really matter which one we bin, right? Do we cast the... No, I'm just going to buy Yorion. Hello, Tarmogoyf. How's it going? Notably, they missed a land drop. I'm thinking about that too. It's a little aggressive, but I think it puts them back far enough that I'm okay with it. Yeah, I think I'm more into that. I think I'm just going to recruit for a Skyclave here. Recruit for a Skyclave, keep Wasteland up. I think that line is likely to work out well, but I think this one's a little bit safer. I think the only reason I didn't snap it off is that like if they waste the gemstone, then it looks a little bad. But I guess they've already missed a land drop, so like they have to either draw it this turn or cantrip into it, and they already didn't try cantripping it into it last turn. Okay, well here we go. Well, I guess good thing we didn't waste them off a green. I think actually the correct decision is to waste red and port green anyway, though. Now that I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna laugh if we get stifled. We do get stifled. That's really that's legitimately very funny. With that stifle, I'm sort of interested in just jamming with a solitude here. Because otherwise, what are we doing? Like, we're recruiting for another sky, or I guess probably recruit for a wisp or something. Yeah, I think I'm fine solituding. And I'm actually going to pitch the Yorion here. Because it's looking like we're going to have a pretty... I think like we have plenty of long game the way that our hand is looking right now, so... I don't want to waste first because there's not really any value to get out of that. All it does is make us open to getting dazed. So. Okay, so they had double stifle. Now we could solitude, but we could solitude again, but now I probably should have thought the second stifle possibility through a little bit. Because one issue with wasting them now is it means that our recruiter is open to a daze when we haven't opened anything up to a daze in a while. So I think I'm just going to pass here. Yeah, but well, that's legendary, so we'd have to pitch this gemstone, right? And I don't really want a lotus petal just to play around a daze. It also cuts off our second white source. I think that's too risky. I think I just want to pass here. Okay, but what if we don't? That happens to me a lot. I just don't think there's a lot of value to be had off of wasting red at this on this specific board state. So I'm just gonna keep waste up. Next turn, I'm gonna recruit for a wisp. I might just recruit for another skyclave actually, because we can take some hits from a Goyf. It's not as big as a stupid Murktide is. Who knows? Maybe they'll just cast another Tarmogoyf, and then we'll rip a rip off the top. Who knows? Another Goyf. Well, since I drew this, I might as well force... actually, they can't have a bolt here, so... The reason I was going to recruit for a Skyclave over a Wisp is that this interaction is weak to Bolt, but they tapped their red mana, so... My opponent is thinking a lot, but I don't know what it's about. Yes, they can stifle the return trigger if they want to. I'm just gonna chump with Recruiter here, I think. Yeah. The chat log's not that interesting. I'm typing out. I'm not typing in Moto chat there. Brainstorm locked again into a Delver? Sure. I'd like to draw one efficient spell, please. Can I draw Sword Splashers? Okay. Sure. You can Surgical Solitude. And they had the third Stifle. Sure. You got it, opponent. I'm really proud of you. That's the third Stifle, not the fourth. Yeah. Did they use one? Oh, there we go. There's one efficient spell. Did they use one in the first game? Is that what you're thinking about? So yeah, now I'm just gonna slam the swords on this Goyf and attack with Skyclave. Yeah, they sure have blurred together. And now at this level of resources, I'm happy to waste the Volk and tap the Trop. Yeah, they sure are using mismatched everything. The fourth is not in exile, it's just Delver and Goyf in exile. They have revealed Once Upon a Time. I'm so proud of them. Yeah, sure. Do I attack with Wisp? I think I do, because if they decide to block, I'm extremely happy about that. And if they don't and attack back, then we win the race by a lot. So, and we know that one of the cards in their hand is Once Upon a Time that they curiously did not cast in their upkeep, but yeah, because now they're just dead in 2 attacks. Okay, sure. They have Nibble Mongoose. They are not dead in 2 attacks. That's a good draw, though. So I guess I actually have to hold back here, right? Because if I attack them down to 10, they just attack me down to 4. And that's not in my favor at all. So I'm just going to double port them. I top deck way better than them from this board for sure. So get a Scalding Tarn. I assume it will be played here. Yep. So I guess this might be a bummer if they have a Bolt for the Wisp. Yeah, Bolt for the Wisp. I will definitely take this trade, but now we just need to find an answer to a Delver. We have a couple of those in our deck, last I knew. That's one. I am literally begging you to not have the 4th Stifle for this. Thank God. Okay. So they get a 2/2 back. In this specific instance, with Mom out, I'm going to start tapping red instead, especially because they also have two green sources. I'm going to do what I can to keep red mana out of play while I have Mom here so that I can start blocking this illusion token without fear. Alright, keep attacking the red sources. That Misty in play is a little dangerous, but we just have to play into Bolt at this point, because if we don't, then they're just gonna hit us for 2, and Bolt will finish us off anyway, so... Yeah, so we'll do this. Try to give Pro Blue. Mom's like 1,000% to die here. Notably, this is probably... Yeah. Oh, Mom does not die. Okay. Another... Goyf is not good, though. We really need something that's not a land, please. Okay. I don't think you heard me, Deck. So this should be their only red source left in their deck. It's usually 3 Volk, 3 Trop. And we've wasted the other 2 Volks. This is going to be a pretty frustrating way to lose this. But we have a lot of good top decks, so... That is one of them. Okay, they just drew bolt their last turn, I guess. Okay, sure. Annoying. I don't think anything changes at all here. No, it does not. I'm sorry, Trilith. I'm not going to bring in the Yorion. Alright, on the play. Very happy to have this kind of hands. But God, please stop drawing Stifle against me, I'm begging you. Yep, that's fine. Whew. Alright, second Crocus is not quite what I wanted, but I'll live. Hello, Wisp. Very happy for them to have a clunky hand against my clunky hands. It's most usually gonna work out in my favor in the long run, because we just draw better than them on average quite a bit. A triple Volk. Okay, so we can potentially pressure green mana pretty bad in the future. I have a feeling that this is going to be a Stifle, but I'll make him use it because we have Wisp to do it again. Yep, cool. And they flip Brainstorm, sure. I have to ponder through their Brainstorm. They're not picking their Brainstorm spots very good, are they? Aether Vial, interesting. So this could get another Stifle, it could also get bolted, but either way, this Wisp is now in play to block the Delver, which is a win in and of itself. Bolt on the Skyclave, yeah, sure. Birder of Crows, thanks so much for the follow, welcome to the stream. I'm gonna not play these into days. Really no rush on that in that respect. God, I'm gonna lose it. I forgot that we got Surgical in the first game. They aren't even draw steps circling me. They're just raw dogging it for no value. Iganjo is a nice one. I'm just gonna cast Vial and Mom. We'll start with the Vial since it's likely to eat a force. Yep, there it is. Force and for a days even. Finally, we get some value out of our second Crocus. I'm gonna not block here because I'm just gonna Iganjo it next turn. That's a huge draw. Awkwardly, we can't Iganjo and Rest in Peace this turn, but they don't have green mana yet still. And there's no immediate... I can cast Rip whenever, so I'm just going to do the Iganjo this turn. It shuts off Goose and Tarmogoyf, which are their only non-Delver threats that we've seen. It's just like, it's literally just Rug Delver from like 2014. Is it going to be a hard cast force? It sure is. Okay. That explains why they didn't wasteland us. Although, they didn't wasteland us here either. So, did they just have another force in their hand then? Yeah, there we go. Well, it's been 3 hours and we're finally on match 5 of League 1. I don't like that my opponent is named Primetime 75. That's pretty bad vibes. This hand is also pretty bad vibes. Like I like it has a decent curve of like Mom into Port into Wasteport. I think it's definitely worth considering a top deck as well. That's for sure. I think I'm actually fine to keep this. It's not anything amazing, but my opponent mulls to 6. Chrome Mox, huh? It's going to be red-green in it. Trinisphere. Okay. I'm not going to let Mom get tagged by Fury, so I'm going to not attack. So definitely red, green, and it. I guess it could. Yeah, no, it is. This matchup's not good. And our hand isn't very good against them either. But this port and wasteland together are going to slow him down a bit. So that's good. Cavern on Warrior. That's interesting. You cannot cast Chalice on one. Oh, they forgot to float mana with their City of Traders. That's what happened there. Oops. I'm going to play Karakas because it'll be good against Minskinbu, and then we'll just port the Cavern. This Cavern names Human. I'm going to guess that Warrior is better, and that's why they named it first. So I'll waste that one. And now, please don't have drawn another land. That's all I want, is the... God, that's the worst land for them to draw. Ugh. And we are just mainlining lands here. Man, that sucks. I think all we can do is attack and bait them into getting Aganjoed. They exiled the Spirit Guide. That was their 4th mana. Yeah, I really just needed them to not draw lands once, but it did not work out in my favor. And now I just need to draw, like, a Skyclave. Skyclave, Solitude, Swords to Plowshares would all be good here. Oh, they just cast a Spirit Guide? I was worried about something a lot scarier than that. They play the mountain. They only have 1 land in hand. Yeah, so this actually might be salvageable then. Because we can... So we're going to cast Stoneforge, and then it's a question of whether we keep up Karakas or if we port them. And I think I want to port them. Casting the Spirit Guide means their last card in hand must not be very good. Leaving up Karakas is only good if their last card in hand is either a Minskinbu or mana, and then they top deck the other one. And then they could cast Minskinbu, and then it would look kind of bad to not have Karakas. But it also actually wouldn't even be that bad, would it? Because they can't kill anything. We can bounce it next turn. So yeah, I think actually tapping their mountain is actually way better. Now that I've thought that through. So we're going to get a Cauldra and pass. Named Giant. Okay, so Undermountain Adventure is a giant warrior. Caves of Chaos Adventure is a human barbarian. I wonder if they have anything else that matters. Alright, sick, we won. Love to see that. So we bring in Council's Judgments. I think that's the only card that we kind of want. And these Mind Break Traps are not likely to be good, but there is a chance that it will tag things on turn 1 if they have to cast multiple spells to make their mana. And I think that's better than some of the cards that are in our deck. Do I think it's good? No, it is not good. But I think there's a chance that it can trade 1-for-1 in a hand against a hand that you would otherwise just lose to. And I think that's good enough reason to try it. I'm going to get rid of a Gemstone Caverns because we are on the play. Emrakul is you just board it in against Painter, and you don't have to worry about Painter Grindstone. They have to like get a Soul Guide Lantern to deal with it, turning their 2-card combo into a 3-card combo. And if they can't assemble that, the plan Bs of every Painter deck, I think, is, I don't want to say trivial, I think it is very manageable for D&T. What else am I going to get rid of? Containment Priest doesn't really do anything. I'm going to keep Containment Priest just as a 2-2 with Flash, mostly. Jite is pretty bad, though. And I'm also going to board out... Thalia. Yeah, there we go. I think blue Painter is in some ways easier. I think red Painter is like, I think it's fine, but like it's not easy. And I think you get a lot of value out of just kind of getting to ignore Grindstone, rather than having to like kind of play around it the whole game. I don't like this hand, and my opponent mulliganed also, so we're going to mulligan. This hand is fine. My opponent has kept 6. I'm going to keep this and bin one of the 2 drops. I think Spirit is more likely to have any text than Thalia, so I'm going to keep Spirit. Please tell me it's Caves of Chaos Adventure. Okay. And we drew a Thalia anyway. I think, as much as I would like to play Mom here to try to take the initiative, I think the fact that Caves of Chaos Adventure draws them a card just makes it too risky, which really, really sucks. Cool. Fable. We can cast Spirit into that. And they missed a land drop, so I'm kind of tempted to just Solitude the Shaman token so that they're even stuck on even less mana than that. Or no, they sacked the City of Traders. So let me. They played that, so they have 2. It might be worth it anyway, still, because it means that I think it keeps them behind mana. Um, they're obviously going to get. I don't think I want to give them a treasure from the Undercity, a treasure from the Goblin Shaman token, and let them play a land. I think I just need to keep them slowed down a bit here. Another Fable is a bummer. If we draw a land, though, we're in really good shape. Yes, there we go. So now we can wisp this, take the initiative. Obviously, them having Reflection of Kiki Jiki in play is a little scary, but we're about to... Oh, and they just don't even want to play the game anymore. Okay, cool. I'll take it. Alright, cool. Beat Red-Green Initiative. What do you know? Okay. I have to think about whether I'm playing another league, because that one took so long. It's already past 11. Yeah, I'm I'm gonna hit the hay. That one just took way too long for me to really do another one. So unfortunately, I lied. I lied to someone earlier about playing two. I intended to play two. It's just those matches took way too long. So yeah, Gemstone Caverns came up a lot for how few matches we played. I'm gonna keep trying it out. It seems all right. Red-Green is not a good matchup for D&T. I thought it was gonna be, but I mean, yeah, sure they're weak to Plow, but they also play Minsc and Boo, and the problem is you can't. It's hard to deal with Minsc and Boo or a turn 1 4-mana initiative creature at the same time. And if you have the answer to one and they play the other, then you just kind of lose. Anyway, yeah. I'm gonna take off. Let me see if there's someone we could raid real quick. Give me 1 second. I might not be able to because my Twitch tab keeps like crashing. There we go. All right, we're live. It's like, oh, someone playing Legacy. Oh wait, that's just me. That's just me. All right, let's go. We'll go over to Romario's channel. How about that? All right, have a good night, everybody. I'll catch you next week, same time as always, 8 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully we'll play 2 leagues that time. Until then, have a good night.